We are go for liftoff in T-minus 30.
Hit the record button.
Gosh, that's swell.
It's a low blog talk radio.
So welcome to another season of Italo's Black Talk Radio. This is Italo speaking. I have my guest already on the line. We've been talking, we've been chatting, and he's already going on. He's on fire right now. Welcome, Marques. Is it Marques Daniels?
Sir, Marques Daniels. Yes.
There you go. All right. And so we met through TikTok virtually. And tell me a little bit more about what started you on TikTok. That's where this started there.
You know what's funny is that I really the way I got started, my ex-girlfriend, like I had our daughters together, and and so we were just playing around, and she's like, "Yeah, you should jump on TikTok. You should jump on TikTok." And I was like, "Okay, cool. So let me jump on TikTok." So I jumped on TikTok just for fun, and just started making funny videos, and then I found it to be a platform that I can actually have fun on, but also get a message across, because I started to get, I guess the algorithm will push messages to you, and you start to feel like what TikTok gives you. And so I just posted a couple videos, and next it just started to go off and explode, and I was like, okay, well, I have a lot of stuff to say,
Right. Well, don't we all, right? I think when I started this platform too, now those for whoever's listening to me on TikTok or YouTube or whatever, I'm gonna post all the information for our links and everything, our, what do you call them, social media stuff, handles. That's a word I was looking for. Anyhow, so yeah, when I started too, I didn't know what I was gonna do, and I already been through the hoops on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter a bit, but I'm like, I was just tired of it. I'm still like not into Facebook. To me, is a place where I find very depressing, very depressing in the sense that people have evolved from there. I think I only go there just to find out whose birthday I missed, to be honest.
Yeah.
So
that's what Facebook is. And Instagram is like that pretty place. I go to see beautiful pictures of people traveling and food, and I don't have a Snapchat. I don't have Twitter. And like my kids will send me stuff on Twitter, and it's like I was looked at the free stuff, but I don't have that. But social media is just one of those places that, being in the military, we'll find out, we'll talk about that a little more, that I was just like, nah, I'm not trying to get on here. I'm not trying to promote myself. And, but like times change, and now, like, now getting on here, you get a lot of feedback saying, the quality of your quality, talking about your quality and what you give to the world. And somebody said it like this, Italo, and they said, your gift is not your own. It doesn't belong to you. Your gift is given to you to give to the world. And I'm like, oh, snap. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
All right. Yeah. I agree. Because you can, and I'm guilty of that. I went to TikTok without knowing that I will fall in these trends and fall in, and you kind of do a little bit of that dancing stuff and the trending and the stuff, but I think when I really paid attention was when you were doing a live, and I think you were talking about relationships, and then that's when I got interested. I'm like, okay, this is what I like. I like that aspect of it. The live aspect of TikTok is really what drives me to it. And obviously being in podcasts, I'm like, yeah, that's how I was getting. But then I got caught into catching up with everybody, and then I lost myself in it. And that's why I'm doing a new season where I'm like, I need to talk about the channel. The channel I want to talk about is mental health,
Yeah.
and all to do with PTSD and narcissistic abuse and all this new, well, they call it new stuff, but it's not really new.
Not
We
new.
have a terminology for it now, you know.
Yeah.
Is I think it's time for me also to use this platform to talk about shit that happens in my life, not just follow on the trends and then be like, okay, I'm gonna be funny, I'm gonna just do comedy, I'm gonna just keep it on the surface, because there's stuff that I want to talk about too. You know, I'm not get frustrated when I'm like, I want to say something, and yeah.
Yeah, no, I feel you. And you know, it's funny. It's funny that because we've talked before, and you know, in our conversations, you know, like I listen. One of the things I pride myself on, and especially you, like being, you know, a podcast, you know, having a podcast and stuff like that, you start to become a good listener. You start to hear things that actually what this person is actually saying, you know, and like when you see that, you know, like when you see that, like you talked about mental health. Mental health is a big thing, man. People are out here smiling, but you know, you can look in their eyes or you can hear it in their tone. Like, is there pain behind that smile? Is there like below the surface kind of issues that this person is actually dealing with, and they're just smiling so that way they can get through it? And that's what TikTok is we're consuming a lot of information, and people are using TikTok as a way to cope with what's going on in their life, and it's good, but a pain that's not transformed into something positive or something else becomes a pain that's transferred to every other area of our life. Does that make sense? And so so I love talking about this stuff, and I want to thank you for having me on. The last time you spoke to me, and that was the first time I was ever on a podcast, and it actually opened my eyes up to actually really letting go and talking about things. So thank you for that.
No problem. Yeah, it's been a journey going through TikTok and the podcast and stepping away from it too, you know, because sometimes you have to step away from it to realize, why isn't this working anymore? And I wasn't happy with what I was saying, or I was coming across as a guru of some sort, or a know-it-all of some sort, or I was just trying to match the energy to the point where I lost myself in it. So now, like yesterday, to be honest with you, last week we were gonna do the podcast, right?
Yeah.
And the day comes, and I already know something's not happening. There's no, like I'm very intuitive in the sense that I know when I'm not ready. and I told you that I'm not, you know, I'm not feeling it today. I didn't know what to say. I didn't want to lie, you know, and I didn't want to lie. So I'm like, I'm just not feeling it today. And it's been, I usually go through those periods where I'm like, stay away. And then yesterday I had an epiphany where I realized what I was doing. It was holding on all this anger. I have a lot of anger, resentment towards my mom. And and so I started writing it because somebody told me, it's like, you have to write it out right now. Like I was on TikTok distracting myself, you know, like finding a distraction, which is what sometimes happens to me. I get distracted. I just want to have a distraction. And so it's either Netflix, a TV series, or a movie, or anything you can find on Facebook or YouTube or whatever. Yeah. And I don't deal with it until it starts affecting my well-being. Yesterday, I was working two shifts of Lyft, which I never do. I was going, and I realized I was avoiding something. Yeah. I don't know if that's happened to you.
Oh, big time. And, you know, it's so funny that you say that, because I posted a video that just went viral. I posted it about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, but it's been viral this whole time. It's got over a million views. And my friends are starting to reach out and contact me. Like, dude, I didn't know you were on TikTok. I didn't know, because my Facebook friends, you know, they're from Facebook, you know, my Instagram friends, they're like, Marcus, what are you doing on TikTok? You know? And like people are starting to reach out to me because they saw this video, and it talked about moving mountains. And what's funny part, and I'm about to make another video about it, but what's funny about it is that we get so focused on moving the mountains, or moving, or accomplishing a goal, or working out, that we lose sight of everything that's around us. It's an avoidance kind of thing. And so by you working and busting your ass doing that whole situation, you're not addressing the problem at hand. You're trying to cover it up with something else. It's crazy, right?
Right. And like there was a point where I didn't want to deal with it or handle it because I thought it was going to be painful, right? Yeah. Now we talk about pain. I don't know pain like you know pain. I'm sure you know pain with, you know, from jiu-jitsu and your training, the military training, and I don't know that kind of pain. I'm just talking about the pain of rendering your ego, right? And I don't know if that's really painful. I guess it is, because you begin to cry, you shake and all that, and you sweat or whatever it is that, you know, but then it's just coming through that tunnel, you know. It's rewarding, very rewarding, realizing that you're holding it on for some reason. And I didn't know what I was doing last night. I was up until 3 a.m. We're driving, just picking up strangers in my car. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Let's go. Whatever you want to take me, I'm willing to do that, so I don't have to think about this.
That's wild. And, you know, and you talk about pain, and, you know, pain is different for everybody, like physical pain, you know, mental anguish, mental pain, you know, emotional, like hurting inside. But every single one of those things has a physiological response. You know what I mean? Like your body is going to react to those things. And like, man, heartbreak, like I've been heartbroken, you know what I mean? Like recently, you know what I mean? And then like, for me, it's like, oh, why is this not working out? I start to question myself. I start to lose weight. You know what I mean? I start to stress out, and I'm like, why am I, you know, why is this thing going on? You know, why am I allowing myself to feel this way? You know? And there's nothing you can do about it. The only thing that you can do about it is to address it, to address the pain. And when you address the pain, that's when life is like, let me sit in it for a minute. Let me sit it, because it doesn't feel good. There's no growth that comes outside of the comfort zone. So let's get uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? Let's get uncomfortable. Let's deal with this shit, and let's get through it, you know?
Right. Because I've been told to do certain things, right? I've been told to scream in a pillow. I've been told to express your anger somehow, right? Now, the only way I can do this is through writing and journaling and talking to people, right? But even then, I'm very polite, because I was raised, you know, to be subservient and to be, you know,
Culture.
Yeah, it's a culture, right? And so I'm trying to breaking away from that is also been another struggle. But in writing out my anger, I was actually doing myself a disservice, because I was like, well, maybe even last night I was even excusing the person that's been hurting me, right? Well, maybe she didn't pick up the phone, or maybe she's in the hospital, or maybe she's sick, or maybe she's this. And then my friend was like, no, that's not it. Why don't you write it out, and you'll figure it out, because everybody knows what's going on, right? Once I wrote it down, and actually I have it, the podcast is coming up later down the week, right? And I'm like, you know what? I realize a narcissist will always be a narcissist, and there's no way to change her. No matter how much you try to rationalize her and make excuses for her, she's still going to be the same person, and she's still not going to care what is going through through your physiologically. I'm sick. I have a lot of things. I can name them, but I don't want to bore people because it's kind of personal. But I have high blood pressure and I have anemia and I have all these things, right?
Yeah.
But I think, like you said, it's actually something that I'm holding on to that's not helping me heal the way my body knows how to heal.
Yeah. Can I ask you a couple of questions? I mean, I know this is your podcast, but I'm going to ask you though. I mean, are you the type, do you feel like you're the type of person to hold on as far as, I'm not talking about like mental or emotional type of stuff, but like, what about physical things? Would you call yourself a hoarder of things, like sentimental kind of things?
So, okay. My mom is a very, very big hoarder, and she used to collect a lot of stuff, and the garage was full and everything, right? And there was a point that we had to move. The last move that we did, all she had was comforters. Now, the funny part is that the word comforter is very meaningful right now because she wanted to be comforted, right? She wanted to be, anyhow, I think it has a meaning. Right now, it hit me right now, comforters. What did she keep on hoarding comforters for? And when I moved, I started to get rid of stuff. And then I had to move again because my relationship wasn't working out and I had to move. And I know I had to deal with it, with some stuff, right? And then the moment that I kept getting rid of things, in particular material things and clothes and memorabilia and certain things, I started feeling lighter and lighter. So to the point where now I really don't care if and I lost a lot of stuff, when I was a kid, I was evicted. I went through a lot of losses in my life. And I think that's taught me to not hold on to things.
Yeah, good. And that's good. When we talk about that, I think about this show called, or this TV person I call Marie Kondo.
Oh, yeah.
You ever Marie Kondo?
Yeah.
I love her stuff. I love her stuff. And what's crazy is that after 2018, I got out of a relationship, and what I had just received, I was just looking at my stuff, and I had a bunch of old letters, that I had saved up and that people had written me over the time and stuff like that. And I thought that I would, especially when I moved here, and I was like, I got all these letters. Why do I have these letters? You know what I'm saying? And then I had all these books, my planners that I would have, and I would write in there how I felt and all these kind of things. I would write in their goals and stuff like that. It was good to look back on it and see that I had accomplished like 98%, 95% of the stuff that was on there. It was great to see that. But then I also started reading letters about how I felt about this person, all this crazy stuff. And you know what? Burnt it. You know what I mean? Like, I threw it in the fire, bro, and I burnt it. And instantly I felt like so good about it, And a lot of people, and the reason why I asked you that is because you're writing this down, and my suggestion is that write it down, feel it, be in the moments, say thank you, because that made you better, made you stronger, and then burn that shit, bro.
I can't do that. I can't do that, dude.
I mean,
one day,
do you, bro? But that's me. I'm like, yeah, burnt.
I don't know what it is. It's and then to piggyback onto what you said, you might think that you have the greatest. I think sometimes I have the greatest epiphany, and then I have this rhyming, poem that's amazing, fire. Like at the moment, I'm feeling it, right? And then I look back 5 years later, and I'm like, what the fuck was I thinking? That wasn't even great. Yeah. But and it comes with maturity, and it comes with realizing that I was pretending to be somebody I was not. Trying to sound like Louis Hay, or trying to sound like, all those self-helpers. Yeah. And I'm like, that's not me. It's not me. It's not my word. So, yeah. But yeah, I understand what you mean. Like, go through your old stuff and realize that's not you anymore. That's not me anymore.
Yeah, for sure. And we add layers. We all add layers onto us and stuff like that. But again, like the mental things, and you're not the only person that has things. You know what I mean? I have my things, and like I'll be honest with you, I did a long time in the Army. And you're not going to come out like any kind of traumatic experience that you experience. You're not going to come out the same. I've got anxiety. I've got some depression. I've got ADHD, I've got adjustment disorders. It takes me a little bit longer to get onto things. And that's the thing. People look at people and we all tell a story about that person in our head about that person. Oh, that person, he's got his stuff put together. He's got, or that person, she's good looking. She's got that pretty privilege. You know what I'm saying? Like we all tell this story about a person, but we don't know the struggles that they go through. There's lots and lots of struggles and stuff. And so,
well, that's the problem with assumption. You make an ass of you and Sean.
That's so true.
I don't know who Sean is, but
yeah.
No, and it's relationships are interesting. You were talking about your relationship, so without going into much detail, what did you learn from the relationship, or did you learn anything?
I learned a lot. I mean, when I talk about burning stuff, like that was like old school, like 20 years ago, kind of stuff, stuff from that I was going to say, letters I was going to say for my kids to read and stuff like that from their mom and stuff like that. But nah, I mean, when I talked about my relationship, here's what I learned. I've learned a lot from every single relationship. This last relationship, taught me the most, to be honest with you. And what it did is it made me look, that relationship made me look inside myself, and actually see a therapist. I mean, I had seen a therapist before for anger issues, but, but this one was like, okay, well, let me find out, because I wanted to be the person for this person. Does that make sense? And so I wanted to be that somebody, like I had never, ever called anybody the love of my life before. You know what I'm saying? Like I had never, ever felt those emotions for somebody, because all of it was superficial emotions that I felt through in the time, but like when you actually devote yourself to a person and actually create a dream with this person, it changes you, So like for me, like just being able to see within and knowing that I can commit to somebody. So for somebody like me, I've got, like I,
All right.
So I didn't really have the best examples growing up. And so my vision and I grew up in the, in the 90s, you know what I mean? We talk about some body rocking, knocking the boots, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of music we used to listen to, And like, I thought that, to be a lover was to be somebody who, who could be just good in one activity, the bedroom stuff, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, I thought that's what it took, but that's not all you bring, you know what I'm saying? Like that, you have to provide safety, you have to provide security. And so this woman taught me just some amazing things about myself and what it means to actually give love to another person. And then the enduring, like it takes a lot, like I'm an experienced man. It takes a lot to love a person, period. You know what I mean? It takes a lot. And so like, from that, like when you give yourself to that person and when that person gives himself to you, there's only so much that a person can take when it comes to like your faults or your errors or your things. Now, our relationship ended for probably a couple of different reasons, and I can name a couple. But I think the biggest part is that our alignment wasn't together. Like I had to come over here and she wasn't willing to come over here. And then, trauma that we had in our early stages of our relationship, I'll be honest with you, bro. I'll just say straight up, I cheated on her, like within the first 6 months, regardless of it, whether it's 2 days or 5 years or whatever, it's gonna cause a problem. And so like, that's what I did. I cheated on her within the first 6 months of our relationship. We stayed together for 4 years. And we built a home, you know what I'm saying? We built a home. it didn't work out, you know what I mean? And so like I could say, oh, hey, well, you kept me, you stayed, you stayed with me. So it should have worked out. We should have just got to get over it. You can't just say that, you know what I'm saying? Because that is a breach in trust. And so I breached her trust and stuff like that. And so with that, there are things that I want her to accept and acknowledge, whether she chooses to do it or not. I can't make her do it. The only thing that I can do is accept my faults in the whole situation. And, I had my faults. And, like I said, I still love her to this day. She's a great woman. I want the best for her. I want her to be happiness. Like that's paramount above anything else, is her happiness. And so like, if that involves me not being present in your life, her life, then that's what it takes, And so, yeah. So with that, it taught me just humility. That's another thing that taught me humility, to get over myself, to get over my ego, my pride, get over my machismo, if you will, you know what I mean? And just allow her to be, herself. And honestly, Italo, if it made me anything, it just made me a stronger man. And, I hate to say it, like I have a lot more to give to my future person. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Whether it's her, you know what I'm saying? Like,
are you active? Are you, because you always get that question, right?
What question are we talking about?
Your followers are always asking, hey, are you available? Are you single? Are you this? Are you that? Where do you live? I can come meet you. I'm sure you get those all the time, right?
No, I get a lot. I am single, but I'm not available. Don't date, you know what I mean? Like, and then, and that's a choice, you know what I'm saying? It's a choice. Like, and, it'll come a time.
that sigh, you're like, yeah, am I ready for it?
Yeah, there'll come a time, man. There'll come a time where I do, and and she will, and that person will be a special person to me. You know what I mean? And so like, yeah,
right.
That's what it is. Next question.
Next question. Move on. Hey, well, give me a second. I think have 7. Anyway, so let me just say that I want to talk about other stuff too. There's the jiu-jitsu, and there's the veterans, how to get assistance and everything, the serious stuff, but I have only 6 minutes left. So let me take a little break and then come back with the part 2 of Marques.
Yeah.
All right, part 2, guys, part 2. So we have Marques back, and he had to take a break after that question about relationships.
I had to get some water, man.
Like, yeah,
drink water.
Like,
I should. When you asked, I should just drink water.
Right. Regarding that question, yeah. Mm-hmm. That's my answer, right?
There you go.
So let's switch it up. Let's switch it up a little bit. So you pick. What do you want to talk about? Whether it's jiu-jitsu or whether it's.
I mean, let's talk about military. Let's talk about military because military feeds into jiu-jitsu, so it works for me, man.
All right, let's do that. I was thinking the same thing, but I just wanted to hear your thoughts about that.
Great minds, man. Great minds. Any insight on any question that you feel? Because I can talk about this, bro. Like, I can talk about this. This is what I enjoy talking about.
Well, tell me, what it was like for you, because we can talk about in general, but what was it like for you to transition? Because I hear that the hardest part is to transition from being acting, and how do you say it?
Active
being
military.
Active in the military, coming back to society, right? Yeah. So what was that transition like for you, and how did it affect your family? Because I understand that's also another
great question. So I'm glad you asked it that way, because that's, I think, for a lot of soldiers, it's very, very difficult. Number one, when you are in the military, your family becomes your brothers and sisters to your left and your right. regardless of how you look at it. You could still be your wife could be there, your kids could be there, but your number one, first and foremost goal is that mission. And so you spend this whole time putting that in a mission, you know, putting that mission first and thinking about how better ways to better out your unit, ways to better out your soldiers, ways to make yourself more marketable in the future for leadership positions, that you often lose sight of your family. You often lose sight of those things. And that is probably one of the biggest adjustments that people are going to have to make. No longer do you have, when you get out of the military, no longer do you have people that are focused on one goal, one thing. You know, everybody has their own unique little things that are going on. We also have, you know, different foundational values that, you know, that they beat into you, you know what I mean? They transform you into believing and stuff like that. And then when you come out, you face a whole different society. You're not the same person. Those things that you enjoy doing, you're probably no longer going to enjoy doing, you know, like with your friends and stuff like that. There's a sense of loss when you come out of the military, and that loss is the camaraderie. You know, we talked about having your brothers and sisters to your left and right. And so you no longer have that camaraderie with your buddies anymore. You know, like you make a joke, you make an off-putting joke, and people are like, oh, shit, hey, that's not, you know, that's politically incorrect. You can't say shit like that. You know, I'm like, whoa, it's just a joke. You know what I mean? Like, you know,
especially nowadays, like everything's like, we're so sensitive, right?
Yeah.
So anything you might put it in a certain way, you say one word or you say, and then people can relate, and I get that.
Yeah, and that's part of it, man. That's part of it, and you know, like, and so especially for those veterans that have gone over and been deployed and have seen things that, you know, that they shouldn't have to see. You know, like these young kids that will go over there and put that. And let me tell you this: like everybody has different tolerances, just like we talked about pain tolerances. We talked about that earlier on. Everybody has different tolerances for what is traumatic for them. You know, just because you put on a uniform don't mean that you're a freaking warrior automatically. No, like there are different types of jobs. I was an infantry airborne ranger in the Army. I used to jump out of airplanes. You know, I used to do all, like, I used to train people to fight, you know, from regular military people to tier 1 level military people. I used to train them how to teach the regular military people how to be aggressive. And for my tier 1 guys, you know, for those, you know, soft operators guys, I used to teach them how to channel aggression. And, you know, and so with that, like, again, like, you know, that training, you have to focus your mind, but then you start to lose track of everything. And so, you know, I talked about my mental health issues. My mental health issues, you know, I got anxiety. I got anxiety about people doing things correct, about accomplishing the mission in the correct way. I got, you know, I get depressed at times, you know, like when there's a TikTok, you know, that says, you know, my personality confuses people because I'm extroverted. I love to be around people. I love people, but I'm also introverted. I also like my space. Get out of my face. You know that. Yeah, kind of
your boundaries. You have your boundaries. Sorry, we got
boundaries are big. So then, you know, and then on adjustment order, you know, just people the man thing. Tyler, you with me?
I kind of lost you first. I kind of lost you. Hold on a second. Hold on.
With me?
Okay. Say that one more time.
Messed up.
Yeah, it's cutting up.
I don't know where I left off.
You were right in the middle of saying, geez, I forgot what you were saying. Yeah. But can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
You can hear me now?
I can hear you, but I can I can hear you now. I could just paraphrase it.
Boundaries.
And basically
boundaries.
Yeah. So boundaries are super big. I mean, they're big to me. They're big to me, like, you know, but then, you know, like one of the things, and again, I'm very open about, you know, my mental health. Like, people can call me crazy. You can say whatever you want to say to me. You're not going to phase me, you know what I'm saying? Because I know what I've seen. I know what I've been through, you know, but adjustment disorder, you know, like that's another thing. Like, you know, coming out, it's hard to adjust to not having these. Let me just say it like this. You know, people think that, oh yeah, you're an alpha male. You got to do this. You got to be a certain way. You got to act a certain way. You know, I talked about my personality, you know, being two different things, you know, and like, I'm not bipolar any means, but I just have a feeling of how, you know, like, look, I want to be an introvert today. You know what I mean? Like, just, you know, just like having that conversation, like, hey, things aren't, my mental health is not right.
Right.
You know?
There's
and
a
then
word for
I
that.
think
There's actually a term. It's called ambivert. So you're not introverted. You're not you're not introverted or extroverted. You're both, which is actually a good balance. You have to. It's actually what I understand is that that's where you want to be. Is you want to be in between. You don't want to be all. Sorry, you probably lost me. I lost you for a second there. Can you hear me?
Am I lagging? Yes.
I think I'm lagging too. I don't know. We'll see, but I'll have to chop it up and edit it later. But what I was saying is that, can you hear me?
Okay.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, I think we got a bad connection right now. But anyways, so yeah, I don't know if what did you hear me say?
You talked about being an ambivert.
Okay, yes, you got it. So yeah, if you're an ambivert, you're that's actually a well balanced person.
Yeah. And I feel that way. I feel like that's who I am. You know, I feel like I'm well balanced. I feel like my emotional health is getting better. Bro, I'll be honest with you, man. Like, one of the reasons, like, I saw, like, I'm a patriot, bro. I'll be honest with you. Like, I'm a patriot. Like, you know, I'm just, you know, like, I'm a city boy, but I'm an undercover country boy. You know what I mean? There's so many different things. Like, there's a good balance. I like rap music. I like country music. Like, there's a lot of things about me that you know, that I blend well with a lot of things. But I'll be honest with you, when it comes to America, when it comes to our, you know, like, I just love our country. I just love our military, you know. And then when I see, like, we call them ramp ceremonies in the military. And like, if you've ever been deployed, a ramp ceremony they'll have when we lose somebody, and we give them their honors, and we put them on the airplane to send them back home. And they have an escort with every person that comes back home with that American flag draped. It doesn't have to be American. It could be, like, I've seen Canadians, I've seen British, I've seen Australia, I've seen all different flags. And we, as a combined force, you know, again, broke my heart, bro. Like, I get emotional, like, thinking about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and, you know, like, I talk to a lot, even some of the interpreters, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've talked to a bunch of interpreters since I've been back, you know, but, like, honestly, it breaks my heart. You know what I mean? Like, it just, to see that. And then I know for me, like, you know, and I'm just gonna say it straight up, like, you know, like, I know for me, having lost somebody, you know, having lost friends, like my friends, like, pain comes in different ways. PTSD comes in different ways. I think we all walk around with a form of PTSD from our childhood. I truly, truly believe that. I know I do, you know.
That's for sure. You got it right there.
You know what I'm saying? And so, like, but when you go over into a war situation and you see even when you join an organization like the military, there's going to be some kind of PTSD, you know what I mean? And, you know, but when you come back, like, these men that have actually taken life, you know, that have actually, you know, have actually lost brother, you know, like, when you do that, it's different. And like, I speak in particular about a buddy of mine that I remember talking to him 2 days. Like, we used to fight each other. We used to punch each other in the face. We used to do jujitsu. Like, we were twins, basically. We're the two oldest dudes. 2 infantry airborne rangers. He was at, you know, 175. I got a chance to serve up in Fort Lewis at 275. Bald, you know what I'm saying? Both had lots of kids, you know what I mean? You know, both had deployments and stuff like that. But my man had 10 deployments. And I'm just gonna say, you know, San Francisco's Grant Shannon. I'm gonna say his name, you know, because he's an animal, bro. He's like, but I talked to him 2 days, and I talked to him. I was like, hey, bro, if you ever need to reach out, like, I'm here for you. I'm here for you. Like, you know, like, and listen, Like, I need for you to take care of yourself, you know, so that way we can go, we're retiring together. Right. And so his single dad had his kids, and bro, 2 days later, he's no longer with us. And it wasn't the first time that he had attempted to do it, you know what I'm saying? But he's no longer with us. And that right there, that tells you that there's a need. There's a need for men to talk about it, for it to be okay to talk about. That's why I'm so open about it. That's why I talk about it, you know, because it's not just for me, it's so other men, other people can know how to talk to a man, you know, that has gone through, or a woman that have gone through it, you know.
Right.
How has this affected me?
Right.
How, you know, how's the army affected? Like, I've lost relationships. You know what I'm saying? It's hard for me to keep a relationship because not a lot of people understand. You know what I'm saying? Not a lot of people understand or even know how to deal with somebody who has PTSD or somebody who has gone through it, you know?
Right. I don't know if I told you about, there was a theater production, right, that I saw. It was about veterans, and it had to do with the fact that, so in the picture, the stage, right, there was actually a couple, a straight couple, let's put it that way. So there was a man and a woman. He had been in the service, he's in the military, and he's back from the war, and then he has a girlfriend. Now suddenly there's an interchange of words, and suddenly she says something. One word she said, put him right in the you know what I'm saying? Like, the trauma came back. Now there was, in the middle of the stage, there was actually another actor, but this actor was only reacting whenever she said that word, right? And I'm like, who is this guy in the middle? Who is this? And he's wearing a military uniform. I'm like, who is this guy? The brother? Who is this guy? A ghost? And so she left. She had to leave. I don't know how she left. And then he starts talking to this guy. This guy was his PTSD personified. And I thought that was really interesting because it's like something is inside your head and talking to you, right? I don't know if I'm explaining this correctly, but that everybody was in tears, dude.
Yeah. And that's truly what happens. I talk to myself all the time. You know what I'm saying? I talk to, like, it sounds weird, but I talk to myself. I have to separate myself, you know? And what's bad, Tyler, I'm gonna tell you right now, what's bad is the world doesn't get to see that side of you. You know who gets to see it? Your kids, your significant other, your loved ones, you know what I'm saying? Those people that are closer to you, that you love the most. Those are the ones that get to see that side. And they shouldn't have to be the fucking ones to see that side. You know what I'm saying? Like, and like my kids, you know, my kids have seen me mad. You know what I'm saying? Like, they've seen, bro, oh my gosh. And I get passionate about this, and I normally don't cuss. And I try to be a very good steward of not cussing and stuff like that. Yeah. But, like, you know, I tell you a quick little story, you know, I consider myself a protector and a provider. I think that, you know, men, that's, you know, we try to be that, you know, I consider myself a protector and a provider, and I'm very, very vigilant about my threats. When I go into a place, I observe the threat. You know what I'm saying? I never sit with my back to a door. Like, I do those, these are these things that are ingrained in me. Like, and so, like, I'm always looking out for threats. You know, I always want to, and this is another thing. I know that I feel bad for my ex, you know what I'm saying? But I keep bringing her up. But this goes for anybody that comes along in the future. I'm still going to be this way. I want to know where you're at. I want to know when you leave. I want to know, you know, like, I just want to know where you're at and what time you leave. You know, and that's the minimum. That's my compromise. I don't have to know which route you're taking, but just let me know where you're at and which way, you know, and what time you leave. So that way I can know that if something was to ever happen to you, I at least know where to start. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm the type of guy, I will comb the desert looking for you. You know what I'm saying? Looking for my loved ones, you know? Quick little story, we're on the beach celebrating my two oldest kids. They graduated from college. COVID was happening. 2020 was happening. They didn't get a commencement ceremony, so I threw them a party. We're having a great time all day. And the last little thing on the day it very ended, this guy comes up and starts, in my idea, and from what my kids tell me, like, this guy was a threat to our family. Now, I try to handle it in a nice way. And I asked the guy to please leave us alone. I asked him a couple times, but he kept coming back. So finally, he put his hand on my chest. And he's like, dude, I will F you up. And I didn't have a problem. I just looked at him. And he's like, and those dudes that are yelling at me, I'll F them up too. And he was talking about my sons. My sons are huge. My sons are 6'2", 280. My other son is 6'3", 180. Big kids, you know what I'm saying? Big boys. But bro, you're not about to say that to but you can say that to me all you want. But man, he said that about my family, bro.
Right.
One time. You know what I'm saying? I don't even have to talk after that.
Going down.
It's it. Bro, he went down. That was it. I dragged his body. Like 30 feet away so my kids didn't have to see it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That would have been a great TikTok. I would be like, whoa, part one, part two, part.
Yeah. But look, man, but that's it. And that's where it comes to it. It's not about that. It's just that switch. Switch. And I heard this quote the other day, and it talked about you're never truly at peace. Well, you're never at peace unless it said you're never capable of peace. Sorry, I'm effing this whole thing up, but it said you're never at peace unless, last thing, you never truly know peace unless you're actually truly capable of committing great violence. You know what I'm saying? And so you think about that. It's a crazy quote. You know what I'm saying?
I don't agree, but okay.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. And I heard that.
How does that make sense? How does that make sense to you?
I heard that, and I was like, wait a minute. I was like, I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, right.
I don't want to be that guy. I don't like violence. You know what I'm saying? I don't like, can I commit it? Yes, of course I can. But that is not who I am. Who I am is I love sport. I love safety. I love protection. I love to make sure that my people are safe and stuff like that. And so like, I heard that quote and I was like, man, that can't be it. You know what I'm saying? Like violence can't be
I don't agree. I don't think so. I don't know where that person's coming from, whoever came up with that quote. Just like the people that say, words can hurt me, sticks and stones can hit my bones. And I'm like, fuck you. You don't know how words can hurt you. Like, words hurt?
Words hurt?
Yeah, they do. They haunt you forever.
And dude, and that's it. And then I heard that, I was like, man, I can't be that guy, man. I can't. And I told my sons, like I sat down with my family, I told them, and I was like, I'm not that guy. Like, I'm so sorry that you guys had to see that. So my kids all like that. I'm so sorry that you guys, I never want to be that guy again. And so like, peace for me is found in conversation, is found in love. Like if you see my post, if you don't get love from my page, from my TikToks, I don't know. Maybe I'm not conveying it right, but I'm a lover. You know what I'm saying? I'm a lover. I love people. Let me go back to it. So a couple of organizations, you know what I mean, that actually talk about it. Mission 22 is, I'm not an ambassador for any of these organizations at all, you know what I mean? But I truly believe in the message that they send. I have, very special people to me that are ambassadors to those organizations. And so, so Mission 22, there are 22 veterans a day commit suicide, because, you know what I mean? Like, because they have no outlet, nobody to talk to. And I think that it takes for people like, like top-notch guys, like there's a guy named Tim Kennedy, who is a former UFC fighter. He's a special forces sniper, all that kind of stuff. He talks a lot about it. He talks a lot about, depression and, suicide awareness and stuff like that. And I think it takes for people to have these kind of conversations like this to create awareness around that kind of stuff. Right.
And actually, I want this platform to be like that. I'm open to talking to whoever, if you have any veterans, anybody that wants to talk about their experience, because I think it's important, not only if you're whether you're on one side of the fence or the other, mental health is universal, and I think everybody has, like you said, we've all had traumas as a child. Everybody has had child trauma. Like, don't even get me started with that because it's like bullshit. You don't have the perfect. If you have the perfect childhood, I want to talk to your psychiatrist because you are fooling yourself. And so, but yeah, it's a difference between, like, I saw violence in my childhood, but not the kind of violence you will be used to. It was more mental and was more psychological, and that's been going on in my family too, right? So, but now you're talking about physical violence, and you're talking about facing people in the battlefield, and that's different. Um, but I think you don't have to experience violence to understand it.
No.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't.
Maybe I might be wrong. I don't know how.
No, in order to see peace, I mean, I truly don't think that you do. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so, like, again, I never ever want my kids to experience violence. You know what I mean? Never want them. You know, whether it's verbal assaults or whether it's emotional abuse, whether it's physical abuse. You know what I mean? I never want them to have to ever experience that. You know, will they have to? I pray that they don't, but it could come. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
relationship abuse too. They're in relationships too. There's a lot of abuse going on in that scenario. Yeah. Like you want to talk about, you actually wanted to take a break because you're like, okay, we're done with this conversation because I think, and I've gone through my own, I know I wouldn't say PTSD, but I would say there was some trauma going on in relationships, not only romantic relationships, but work relationships and you name it, friends, people that you call brothers or sisters, or your soul sister, your soul brother, they still stab you in the back. You don't know why, and you try to rationalize it, and you excuse them, and you know what I'm saying. So I don't excuse what you did too. Like I've been in that situation too, where my rage took over, and that's. What is something that you've done? I know you done jiu-jitsu, so I don't know if that's helped you control your anger, or how do you balance that out?
That's a great question. So balance is what we're looking for in life. You know what I mean? Balance is achieved through, number one, I think the biggest thing for me is to surround yourself with positive people. Like if you surround yourself with positive people, when you look at it, like, who's somebody you respect? You know what I mean? Like, who's somebody you respect? If you find somebody you respect, you never want to hurt that person. You will never want that person to see you in a negative light. So you always put your best foot forward. Now, when you look in the mirror, you have to ask yourself, do you respect that person? So affirmations is something that I try to do. I try to, couple my affirmations that I am worthy of the life that I want to live. I'm an amazing father. I'm an amazing friend. I have a lot to give to this world, like just saying things like that, so affirmations is another. Surround yourself with positive people that feel the same way, that are goal driven, that want the same things that you want in life. They say that misery loves company, but what about success? What about joy? What about happiness? Happiness wants company too. You know what I mean? And so, like, you look at those things. My jujitsu, my physical activity, like your health. You had mentioned some physiological problems that come along with depression and mental health issues. Yeah, there are. But taking care of yourself physically, like working out, doing all that kind of stuff, finding an outlet for yourself, done in moderation. You know what I mean? Not in excessiveness, but done in moderation is beneficial, to you. And so, like, I do jujitsu. Like, I love jujitsu. I love MMA. I love mixed martial arts. There's something liberating about, and it sounds violent, but there's something liberating about punching a dude in the face. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like, for me, and this is for me. Yeah. But jujitsu is the gentle art. Jiu-jitsu is a way that you can give 95% of your physicality to somebody else, going against somebody else in competition. Yeah. And walk away to live another day, to live and fight another day. And that's what I love about jiu-jitsu is I can give 100% effort. And then it's me against this other person, but we have respect. We have control. We have boundaries. And, strength, they say, is mastering yourself. You know what I mean? Like, but true mastery is, I forget, I mess all these quotes up because I think too much, bro. But I got ADHD, man. I'm like all on the spot all the time. But, strength is controlling, others. Mastery is controlling yourself. That's what the quote says. And so I love that, mastery is controlling. And so like in that, so I do jiu-jitsu. And here's the 3 things that I get from jiu-jitsu, man. Like resiliency, confidence, humility. Like, It's so humbling, bro. It's so humbling. Like, I think that I'm a big guy, but I'm not a big guy. I'm like 5'9", 170, 80 pounds, but I think that I can go against heavyweights,
Okay.
But I do a great job against the heavyweights, but who humbles me? The 140 pounders, you know what I'm saying? The small guys, they humble the crap out of me,
You're not expecting it from them. Right?
No, you're not. You're not. And that's the thing. That's that's the thing about it is that, you got to find an outlet for yourself. And that my outlet is jiu-jitsu, my outlet is MMA, my outlet is teaching. And, I love to teach, and so when you're giving something to somebody else, you have no time to feel bad about your issues. You have no time to worry because you're giving.
Right.
It's kind of like what you're doing right now. You're giving.
Yeah. And then you have to find time for yourself too, right?
You do.
Yeah. But I need to get in shape. And I'm not saying, because I was told once, it's like, why are you doing this? Who are you doing this for? And I was called fat. I was called this by family members, right? And so I was started working out. I started doing abs. I started going to the gym. I started in trying to get accepted by these people.
Yeah.
And that was a wrong thing to do at the time. And I was in shape and everything. I was getting there. But I always started and I never finished it. I never kept going. So I think having the right attitude to begin with is what was. And I have a bike. I bought an electronic bike, and the e-bike, and I want to start doing it. But wanting and doing it is 2 different things. That's another topic.
I got asked to do a series on like the fitness. I'm in shape. I'm a fitness guy. But I'm not a fitness guy. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how to count micros and macros and anything like that. But I'm gonna start a series just on some things, some things that I think are gonna help people. You know what I mean? Like just 30 seconds of push-ups a day. You know what I mean? Like it's that simple. It's something that simple. So it's a habit.
Right.
It creates a habit.
Okay. Yeah, and I've been wanting to do that. So let's just start. I'm gonna start wanting and just doing it. How's that?
Yeah, just do it. Just do it.
Just do it, right? Yeah, I never got into martial arts, but that's interesting. I never say never, right? It can happen.
Never say never. You can.
I mean, who's the oldest in your class or in your
circle?
Oh,
shoot. I've got a 59-year-old in my class, and he is doing great. He's doing great. And I think the oldest woman we have in my class right now is 34. I'm considered the old guy. I'm 43. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, let's go. Right. I'll take it. You know what I mean? I'll take it.
Right.
But I mean, I think just starting off and just allowing yourself just to, take one class, you know what I mean? And this is what I tell everybody. I used to tell everybody that you should fight at least one time in a cage. That's, as a man. Yeah, that's unrealistic.
Yeah, when you say that, I was like, yeah, okay, sure. After seeing the movie The Wrestler, I'm not 100% with you there.
Yeah. But I tell everybody now, I don't say that anymore. Try at least one class of jiu-jitsu just one class of jujitsu, and that class will open your mindset. Like, just do the warm-ups and you'll be like, whoa, this is cool. You know what I mean? Like, and like you will start to see yourself grow both in confidence, and your body will just, yeah, man. I got this guy right now who, his name's Steven. He's like 300 something pounds. He's lost right now about 40, I think. Yeah. And so he's starting to slim up and look really good, man. And so like, it's so cool. And he's a little older. He's like, I think he's like 47, I think.
Okay. So, yeah, I'm 49. So I just need to lose 20 pounds. That's all I need to. It's always 20 pounds. Like,
dude, yeah.
And I gain a lot. You know how it is. The yo-yo effect. You gain it, you lose it, and also the stress. At one point, I was so stressed out, and I think I gained weight. Yeah, I gained weight. I was 220 at one point. just from the stress, just from working.
Hold on real quick. I gotta grab something.
Technical difficulties, but it's always a reason. Like when I had somebody else. I don't know if you heard the other topics, but Lewis, somebody named Lewis was on the phone with me. And it wasn't recording, and I didn't realize this until the end, right? But that conversation was really, really, really interesting because it wasn't for anybody else but me. You know what I mean? That conversation was very personal and and he's also a military guy too. He was in the military, and he was talking something about military, and I'm like, yeah, I'm into that. And at the end, he wasn't recording. I'm like, damn. He's like, no, there was a reason why I wasn't recording. I'm like, okay. I didn't get that until later. I'm like, you're right. It was for me. It wasn't for anybody else. But anyway, sorry. Tangent. Okay. Going back to, we were just talking about fitness and weight loss. And one thing I wanted to say is about weight loss. For me, it was more about what's my worth. And whenever I got into the scale, my worth was measured in how much I weighed, if you know what I'm saying. Like, if I weighed 180, I'm worth. I don't know how to explain it, but that was my goal, right? If my goal was 180 and I was at 220 or 200 or whatever, I was a loser. I was failing at my prime weight that I want to be. And now it's just like, no, accept your body the way it is. Like, why do you have to put a number to it?
Love it. I love it. That's exactly right. You love yourself for who you are. If you want to improve, yeah, do that. But love yourself through the process, Right.
I had to do it for me, whereas before I used to do it for other people.
Yeah. It's just like women. Women don't put on makeup, like I would believe that they don't put on makeup for other people. I think they put on makeup to make themselves feel beautiful.
You think?
Huh?
You think?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I would think they do. I would hope they do, you know what I'm saying? Because
I don't know. I don't put makeup on, so I can't say that. I hey, maybe they do, maybe they don't.
I've been told. Hey, listen, I've had many conversations with women. Yes, they put it on for themselves. They put it on.
All right.
I believe it.
Hey,
I believe it.
More power to them. More power to them. I'm a feminist in that sense. Like, yeah, whatever. I'm all for that. But is that really true? Are you putting high heels for yourself? I don't think so. That hurts. I tried it once. I walked on high heels on Hollywood Boulevard. Let me tell you, it's not fun. It's not fun, dude.
Yeah, no, I would take your word for it, but I got some. I'm Samoan, so I got some flipper feet. You know what I mean? I got wide feet, so that don't work. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm sure a drag queen will find the shoe for you, but no.
But
I'm gonna
yeah.
ask around. Have you ever tried? Well, you probably haven't, but have you ever tried to put makeup on and put high heels, or have
No,
that ever crossed your mind?
no, no, it has not. I know my girlfriend, my ex-girlfriend, she tried to put makeup on me sometimes. My kids, like, my daughter is like, oh, it's my birthday, Daddy. I want you to paint your nails. I'm like,
Yeah, I'm
okay.
out. I love you, but I
But
tried it. I tried. Actually, I performed as a female impersonation, right?
uh-huh.
Let me just say, it was very liberating, um, and it's interesting. It's an interesting experience. I don't want to do it again because I was in
Yeah,
back in my 20s,
yeah,
and I don't look anything like that anymore. I don't think I'll do it again, but it was fun for a while.
yeah, yeah.
Let
They're
me just put
good.
it that
They're
way.
good. And again, you got to do what you love. You know what I'm saying? You got to do what you love. And then, like, when I'm done fighting, you know what I mean? It's gonna be one of those things where I just, okay, I'm good. I'm done. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Yeah,
done getting punched. Like, we'll know when our passions, like, and then when they stop, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, when it's time to move on with the next chapter in your life, it's time to just move on. And so,
exactly.
but what I did want to talk about, so we talked about Mission 22. So that's something I do want to talk about. Like Mission 22, if anybody on here that watches this podcast, somebody that, is having trouble and stuff, don't be afraid to reach out. There's a lot of veterans hotlines. You can call the VA hospital and stuff like that. But Mission 22 is a great organization to assist, to donate. I donate to them. I'm big on giving. And so like I donate to them. Another organization, we talk about jujitsu, so We Defy Foundation. We Defy Foundation is a foundation that helps disabled veterans cope with the mental and physical impairments that that have happened through combat or through the military or whatever it may be. And they'll sponsor people to come through and find the art of jujitsu. When I there's a hashtag out there, jujitsu saved my life, man. I really truly believe that it did. It gave me a purpose, gave me stuff to do. And then the other foundation, the Special Operations Warrior Foundation, again, the Army, the military is going into small unit tactics, small group type stuff, and they're relying a lot on our special operations, forces out there. And so these are guys that are selfless in service, and men and women that are selfless in service, and then go out there and put themselves first. They're the tip of the spear. And so I would say, if those are any foundation anybody want to look into, have them look into those things. And yeah, man. Yeah. So the rest is thank you for the support. You know what I mean? That's just the biggest thing is, every military member out here, I promise you, they really appreciate the support that they get from everybody back home. So.
Right. And then another thing I was talking to you about, and again, we're not talking politics or anything.
Sure.
But I'm just saying, like, now that the war is over and the troops are retreating and coming back home, is this actually what is your reaction to that?
So, and Victor, I'm just gonna say that where we don't retreat. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't retreat, and so that's just my base. I don't talk about politics. You know what I'm saying? We are being redeployed back, but ain't no such thing as retreating from the United States.
Okay.
Like our army. So I just gotta say that first and foremost.
Oh no,
but then
correct me, because I'm not, I'm not literate about that. I didn't know that was offensive or.
Yeah. No. and look, I love you, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna say and that's just me. We don't retreat, and our thing is we're being called back. What we did over there was worth it. It wasn't a waste. You know what I'm saying? Because I've seen the people that we've liberated from those regions and stuff like that, and they are living a better life. They were oppressed, and they, again, the freedoms that they have now, are going to be far more. The quality of life for their families are going to be far better than it was in that area. Now, don't get me wrong, Afghanistan is a beautiful place. Like I said, I got a chance to travel the whole country, like the country as a whole. And it's just a beautiful place. And, there were times where I was afraid, and, there were times where, our interpreters let us know that, hey, we're good. And like, yeah. And so my whole thing is that as a soldier, you do what the commander in chief tells you to do. You know what I mean? And if they want to pull it out, then they want to pull it out. And it's not just, and listen, I'm going to tell you like this, I won't get political or anything like that, but it's not just one person's fault. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole bunch of people, that from different, campaigns and all that kind of stuff, those are just the thing that happen. And so I think that from a strategic military standpoint, I don't really feel like it was our time, but were we wasting lots and lots of money? Were we spending lots and lots of money over there? Yes, we were.
I agree.
Could we use that money somewhere else in our own borders? Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely. So, like the powers that be determine what it is. And we just gotta, just gotta salute and say, hey, roger that, and come back. And so like,
right. Oh yeah. No, and I think it should be like you're saying. I think I heard it was $30 million a day to keep that going on. So I think that can be put in towards mental health, counseling. I think that should be the new. But I'm not in politics, so I can't really.
Yeah.
But there should be more investment in that, and also homelessness. Right here is really bad, and I'm sure a lot of them are veterans. And, it's really, we should focus on that. We should focus on us.
Yeah, and let me say this. So we talked about adjustment disorder. When I got back from the Army, I didn't want to have anything to do with the government. I didn't want to work any government jobs. I didn't want no GS jobs. So I went and worked at Target. I wouldn't work retail. And so I worked in downtown Portland. If you ever been to Portland, we got a big homelessness problem here, right? And so I remember working the bottles and cans line, because that's how, our homeless population would get money. They'll collect cans and do all that kind of stuff and trade it in, which is great. It's not a handout. Go and, return some cans. But I remember being in the line. There's a couple of veterans in the line, and they would see me in my shirt. I would always wear this RLTW shirt, Rangers Lead the Way shirt, right? And so he came up, he's like, yeah, I was in the Navy, I was this and that. But the moment I talked to that young man and we talked about his service, like I could see him, like he was all hunched over in the line, but I could see him stand straight up. You know what I'm saying? I could see him be proud about what he did in the military. So if we put assets and, finances towards something like that, then that could be a portion of the population that we get off of the streets. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because homelessness is pretty much they're invisible. At some point, they become invisible, or they. I hear people that are saying that, or having homeless that I've talked to, and some of them are my friends, that they became sort of invisible, like they were not even worth to look at, or worth to even give it a high, or. And I'm guilty of it too. Sometimes you don't want to look at them in the eye because it's coming. But I think I've changed. I've shifted that mentality too. Like they're people, and they're just an exchange of words. It doesn't have to be monetary. It doesn't have to be money. I've learned that talking to them is important. Acknowledging their presence is important. I'm still working at it. Don't get me wrong. I'm still driving through LA and I see, them coming out to my car, and sometimes I just pour the water in my windshield, and I'm like, no, you know what? All right, you already started doing it. And, just giving him a smile, or just giving him a hey, what's up, or whatever, is important. Yeah. And whether they were veterans or not, I don't know their story, but
yeah. And and like the route that you want to take this podcast, the mental health awareness, like mental health is mental health issues run rampant in in the homelessness population, you know, which then turns to a different type of addiction, you know, drugs, alcohol, that kind of stuff. And so,
of course, yeah. And then
like
we
I
have
said,
the COVID, which is another traumatizing event. We've been traumatized, guys. We've been traumatized from the get-go too. Like, not only the war, but now we have to deal with masks, and then we have to deal with the new, you know what I'm saying? Like all that's bullshit that I don't want to talk about either, because I'm really not gonna start this conversation. But all these mandates and the new strands, and then I heard there's a new strand of COVID now. I don't even know what it's called, but we got the Delta, now we got another one, and it's just oppression. It's basically what it is. To me, it's oppression. So whether I'm in one side or the other of the politics is bullshit to me. And this is my platform, so I can say that. But
you can say whatever you want to say, bro.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, that's one thing I actually come to realize. I wasn't using my platform to speak up, to say things. And I need to, speaking of fighting, there's actually, you have to fight for your right to say something. I was going to say the right to party, but also the right to speak up. You have to fight for that right to speak up and say what you want to say. And sometimes I held myself from doing that because I'm like, well, it's just me, Italo, what am I talking about? And now I'm like, no, I can talk about certain things. And I have my opinion, and I may not be an expert, but everybody has an opinion, and it's valid.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. Absolutely, man. I love it. I love it. And so, yeah, I mean, again, it's great to hear everybody else's perspective. You know what I'm saying? Because you look at things differently from how I look at things, and I love a good conversation. And so, like, by opening up a dialogue and truly listening to someone else and their thoughts and opinions, that will help you formulate your opinion, and that will help you, that will help us come to a solution to what we can honestly do. Because that's the worst thing ever. The worst thing ever is to be like, okay, hey, what would you do differently? You can complain all you want, but if somebody asks you what would you do differently and you don't have an answer, but what the hell are you talking? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we talking about? So, like,
it's like that song by John Lennon. What does the song say? I only find it. I don't see problems. I only see solutions. Something like that. Mm-hmm. I also messed up that quote. But yeah. We got to find a solution. If you don't have anything to say, then shut the fuck up.
Yeah, right. That's it.
That's all you gotta say.
Talking about this, you'll find people that have solutions. I don't have the right answers for everything, but I know that if I can influence, one person to do something good or positive in their life, then shoot, I'm doing what I was meant to do.
Right. And that's where you have your platform. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have a platform of people that are following you on TikTok, and that's a platform. Like, somebody was on TikTok, he had a big following, Joey Tang, right? And then he had to go off doing lives, or he was doing a daily basis. And he had a big following, and he was talking to people like we're doing right now. He was having people call, and everybody wanted to call at the same time, and so it was really hard to get in the show, right? And he chose whoever he wanted to choose. It wasn't in order of whatever. And my complaint one day was like, I want to say something. I have a message, right? And then another one was telling me to, yeah, me too, man. I was trying to get on. And I text him, and I was gonna get ready to get on the air with him, and then we talked. This guy, Lewis, and me, we were talking on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, it hit me. I'm like, you know what, Lewis, you have a platform and I have a platform. He started doing the same thing on his platform, which is TikTok. And now I'm doing it here, which is Block Talk Radio. And I'm like, we have our following. Why do we have to wait until they let us in to say something. We can just do it here.
Right.
And he's like, you know what? And it
That's
was
right.
like a light bulb went off, and that's how ideas happen, right? So
Yep. I love it.
all
Love
that's to say, I'm ready to open up more. I'm sharing some stuff later this week that I would have never shared publicly.
Yeah.
And I'm not afraid anymore. I used to be like, oh, this discussion is very personal and stuff like that. But I'm like, well, if I don't do it now, when?
When? If not now, then when? If not you, then who?
Then who? Exactly.
I love it.
Hey, Marques, I want to thank you because this is the new season for me, and I appreciate your wanted to jump in and just talk about stuff that I want to talk about, which is mental health and veterans and fitness. I need to get into fitness soon too. So once I start doing that, I'll reach out.
I appreciate you, bro. Thank you, man. And dude, and thanks for the opportunity to get on here and talk, bro. I appreciate it. It makes me feel good.
All right, cool. Okay, I'm gonna wrap it up. And so yeah, listen to it. Follow Marques. He's on TikTok. Do you have a YouTube? What else is going on with you?
TikTok, Marques D33 on Instagram, Marques D33 as well.
All right.
We are go for liftoff in T-minus 30.
Hit the record button.
Gosh, that's swell.
It's a low